Cloud. Okay, so those of you online, when I start screen sharing this way, I may not be able to see the chat, but you should be coming through the microphones and speakers here. So if you have a question, I don't see it, just shout it out. We'll go from there with it. Okay, we are jumping right into, make sure my screen share is working. Okay, so what we're on here is the main screen from Somo. And those of you here, have you both logged in to Somo before? Okay, you know what? We're going to back all the way out for a second. I'm going to log myself out. So our main website that runs everything for all of the MLS stuff and everything is SOMO, which is short for Southern Missouri Regional MLS. It normally will look like this. And you'll get a SOMO number, which is whatever it is, and then I think it's your real estate ID number, and then your super secret password. So once you get past this, it will log you in. Usually on the second try for me, but it worked the first time. Okay, so main thing on this class is about transaction desk and flex. So there's a couple things on here, and it jumped me. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so across the top here, you see all these different apps that are already connected to us through Somo. This is part of our fees. You also see that it's got a connection to our social media spots, but then way down here, MR forms. Almost every form, if you need to know what to use, if you'll click on this thing, it will bring up the whole form directory and an explanation. So like right here is all the forms. Right there is just commercial forms, just residential, condominium, disclosures, farm, land. But anything you need is probably here. A lot of times I'll go straight to the master forms, but typically we're all dealing with residential. So if I click on residential, it will show me everything once my old computer pulls them up. So here's every form on earth except for Springfield Board of Realtors forms. We have a few of our own here too. But for example, seller's agency listing contract, transaction brokerage. RES 2000 is the one we use almost always for doing contracts. And that's right here. So if you're going to find out and somebody says, well, there's a form you need called whatever, you can go in here and search for it. Like one that throws people a lot. I'm going to go back to the main thing here. And I apologize for the speed of my computer. It is time to buy a new one. I think this was like Apple 5. That's how long ago it was. Okay, but like, for example, if you're doing a house that's out in the country, it wants me to log in on this again. There's a form. Typically, if there's a septic tank, the buyer's responsible for uncovering that and paying to do it. But there's a form that if you use can save your buyer that trouble. So I just hit Control F for find, and I'm searching for septic. Wastewater well sewage disclosure rider. So this is the thing. For use in situations where the subject property includes or is serviced by a private well or sewage system, and so it's DSC 8000A. This is a great resource to find any form you're wanting to find. So I always just like to point that out to people from the beginning. And that's all, once again, if it'll show me, under the main page down here on the bottom, MR forms. Now, as I was goofing around last night, I found this that I've never seen before. It's called Form Simplicity. So if you're doing a contract and you just need to find one form, you can go into this and just fill out a blank form. And I had to fill out an ID last night. It emailed to me, so I don't know what that number even means, but that's what my ID is on it. I just actually tried to log in and told it I need a password, and it emailed me all that info. But here's all the blank forms. So if you're just needing to find a blank form in a hurry, this is a resource I didn't know was here till last night. Okay, so all the Missouri forms are right here. So RES 2000, like if I'm trying to find that, RES stands for residential. All these things stand for something, by the way. And it's going to open, and look, here's a form that I could just fill on the fly if I had to do one and print it out. So it's got fillable spots, it will save it under the street address, but that's a spot I'd never known was there before. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, so those are two of the main things on here. MR forms to find any of them, form simplicity to get to them. Then we're gonna go way back up here again to transaction desk. Now I'm gonna stop the screen share for a second, if I can find where that went. And those of you online, I don't know how well you'll see the board, but meaning this board, not the board of realtors. Okay, so over here is the MLS. Right here is command. In our, well, they can't see me online. So the ideal would be to have a contract or document form system right in here, where it would go straight from this to this to this. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist. So there is a thing called DocuSign. We'll put that here. And this is what most of Keller Williams uses. And once you load stuff into there, it automatically goes to command, but it doesn't link directly from MLS. So you've got to take, yes.
Does .loop work with that?
.loop does too. It's the same thing as DocuSign, but it won't feed into command anymore. Well, it might.
You won't?
I think it actually still will, but we're trying to stay away from it because Zillow's getting silly with what they're doing since they own it. Okay, so there's also a system that goes from MLS to transaction desk, but then it doesn't connect to command. These are all what's called electronic signing platforms, which are actually like 10 years old. That's all they've been around. So before that, you had your MLS, you would print off your forms, and in 2007, they were still in triplicate paper. So you'd print them off, take them somewhere, then you'd put it into your whole database system. There wasn't such a thing as command then either. So the ideal Keller Williams thing to do is you learn to use DocuSign, and then as you put things there, it will feed right into command, which is your opportunities. And opportunities is where your contracts go in and where it feeds it, keeps track of everything, and helps you get paid, which is kind of fun. But DocuSign, some people have had trouble learning to use it. Mostly it's people that have used .loop before, and those of you here in the room have never used .loop before, so don't mess with it. You can start right with DocuSign. But there is another way called transaction desk. And this is the one I use a lot just because that's what I grew up on. But it will not feed directly into command. So once I do my documents here, I have to then load them into command separately. So the ideal would be something that goes bam, bam, bam. There ain't no such thing, at least right now. Maybe someday DocuSign will be connected to MLS. So the ideal Keller Williams wise is use DocuSign and it'll load into command and it'll communicate back and forth. But if you're having trouble with DocuSign, Transaction Desk is another version. So we're going to jump in on Transaction Desk and I'll show you one of the reasons I love it. So back to screen share.
So Mike, you do not use DocuSign at all? You always go through transaction desk?
I do some, and I just need to learn it more. And I'm sort of stuck in my ways because when you see how the transaction desk works, you're gonna be like, holy crap. Okay, so Liliana, do you have any active listings right now?
What do you say? I'm sorry.
Do you have any active listings right now?
Yeah. Not active, you just went pending, sorry.
That's okay, it'll work. What's the address?
1316 West Winkler.
Okay. We're gonna use that as the guinea pig on this. Okay, so in the room, I just opened Flex. So everybody's Flex looks different across here. These words across the top, make sure my screen is sharing properly. I wish I could get this thing out of the way. Oh, it's not in your way up there, is it? Move that up. Okay, so these are the order I put these in. Actually, all these different tabs here are under menu. And when you go to menu, you can star the things you use the most. And you can put them in the order you want. It probably has a preset amount right now with things they think you need the most. But the main thing is, this is how we get in and search for houses. So Liliana said it's on Winkler. What was your house number again?
1316.
Okay, so I'm going to show you all what Transaction Desk does, and then we'll go back to the pieces of it. So I'm a big picture first. So here's her house that she just listed in Village Circle. It's been on the market, how many days? 7 days. But, and this, so under here, and I'm explaining, so those of you online, those two people in the room are brand new on all MLS. So we're kind of looking at a bunch of stuff here. So under this tab, you have the history of it. You have the CRS tax info, which is a great way to get all the tax info on a house. All you gotta do is plug, oh, Evan is entering the room again. You can also go into documents. This is where they should load the disclosures, measurement disclaimer, lead-based paints, all that stuff. Open house dates. This is great. There's a calculator. So you can figure out what a loan should be on it. Let's say somebody's getting a loan at 3.5%, they're going to offer 170,000 since it's bidding war. This will show their amount right there. So that's a cool tool that most people don't know about. RPR and another thing called transaction desk. That right there we're going to use in a second. But while you're in here, this will also show my list of homes. It will show my photos of it. It'll show the map. So you've got this row above that has all the different things. And then once you get into detail, it shows all these things. So let's say, I'm probably gonna use Cassie for this as an example. Cassie's gonna be my client and she loves this house of yours, Liliana.
Okay.
So we're gonna write an offer on it. We're going, this is how I do it. If I'm in a rush, I gotta get back to the office, write this down and get it going, okay? So anybody taking notes, you're not gonna be able to keep up with this, so you might just watch the whole way that this happens. So I know Cassie's gonna write an offer on this. All I gotta do is click transaction desk, bam. It will load and it will walk me through a setup wizard. I just have to tell it which template to use. So under here, I have what's called my Browntown buyer contract form. She's my buyer, so we're gonna do that. Look, sorry, I'll load this. It says I'm the selling agent, create. I really need a new computer. I think I have like this much memory left on it. And it's like, okay, at some point we got to transfer this thing over. Get rid of a few extra windows too, that'll help. Okay, so I'm in the wizard almost. Look, it already loaded all the info on the house. Detail, that's step one. Step two, it's got the listing date. Cassie, what date do you want to close on this? End of the month?
Yes.
All right. I don't need any of these other things really. Contacts. Oh, look, it's loaded everybody in already. There's my seller. There's the title company I'm preferring. Kelly Nystrom, who works with me. Keller Williams is the broker. Kelly Hunt, who also works with me. Lilian is the listing agent. Lindsay Fearing is transaction agent, and me. I didn't have to put anything in because I already set a template. Oh, I do have to add my buyer. Okay, so we're going to add a new transaction contact. You're my buyer. And again, this is the fast version. We're going to go down through slow. And what's your best email, Cassie?
BAICOO21.
Add to address book, so you're going to be in my contacts immediately on this now. Step 4. Oh, look, all my contracts that I need are already loaded. Every document I need is there. Those are actually forms.
So did you load that? Or
Yes.
is it okay.
I've got
You have to go
I'm going to show you how to set up the templates afterwards. So those are what's called,
Okay.
yeah, those are forms, which means they're fillable. I always compare a form to a Mad Lib. It's got blanks that we can fill in. And then once it becomes a document, it's like the Declaration of Independence. It's already been filled out and signed. Look, there's my affiliated referral, broker disclosure, contract checklist, which is a personal form of mine, warranty form. that fast, I'm ready to write the contract. It's got everything in. This is my overview. It's got a cute picture of the house. It's got the details up here. There's my forms. Here's any documents. So then I can go into my forms. I got to keep moving this out of the way. And the forms are things I need to fill out. So I've got my buyer's exclusive contract. I've got a, now technically you should have this filled out before you go show somebody houses.
Oh, yeah.
I am a good old boy type and I do it when I'm doing the contract. So technically you've already done this. Look, there's my contract. There's a government loan rider in case it's a government loan. Oh, what if it's a well inspection? I've got that. For my protection, all my forms are here. So I can go in. I'm gonna fill out this form for Cassie, but Liliana, oh, she's on the phone. Look at how much stuff is already filled out for me. And I always like to turn it blue and bold. That way it's very obvious to people. It's got your name, it's got what company I'm with. I've got to fill out what things you're doing here. But I just got to go through the checkbook. And these you'll get in the contract classes too. So I'm zooming through this pretty quick. I do not have to tell why your motivating factors, or I can say wants to live in a house. This is what cracks me up. Why does the buyer or why does the seller want to sell? They want money, you know? Are you under agreement with somebody else? No, you're not. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking. My flat fee, Cassie's a friend, so I'm going to only charge her $12,000, $120,000, but only if I sell you a contract or sell you. So I can go through and fill out all these things. But Liliana and Evan, notice this, especially Liliana, who's done this several times. I didn't have to put in my address, my broker name, it put it all on automatically. Oh, Nicole wants to join. Okay, contract. So I just open a form. Here's my contract. And again, I like blue and bold because I like people. When I started, contracts were still handwritten. And when people started typing them, you would lose stuff,
Right.
especially closing costs, because that was just written in instead of a line. And so people would not see that you're asking for closing costs sometimes. So anyway, that's why I like the blue on this. Okay, you'd like the fridge to stay. All appliances currently kitchen. These are all fridge in the kitchen to stay. Why do I put that? What if you take the beer fridge from the garage and leave it? Why do I know that? I've seen stuff like that happen. All right, so we want to really make sure we get this. So we're going to offer $200,000. You're not going to have. You're going to ask for $7,500 of closing costs, which would kill an offer usually. And any more earnest money is not a thing, but we're going to do $5,000 just because money she wants to throw around. Okay. Choice title is my escrow agent. A lot of brokerages used to have their own escrow account, and you could hold the money in-house, but that's not the case anymore. We're going to close at choice in Springfield. See how this is reloaded? Yeah. Sometimes I like to put OOB for on or before. So that way, if we do get the loan done early, we don't have to do an amendment. We can just automatically jump ahead. You're so confident you're not going to do an appraisal. You're doing a conventional loan. So I have to have all my details. You're doing an 80% loan. It's a fixed rate. You're going to do C, which is seller typical closing cost. And again, this is not a contract class. Otherwise, we'd go through more of this. You're going to property data. You want 20 days to check for sex offenders and square footage. Inspection notice, you need 15 days because the good inspectors are booked right now. You're going to give them a chance to correct it. We want 35 days to check municipal government inspections. You never have to use that here. That's a St. Louis thing, but I'm having fun with this for the moment. And since we're offering $200,000 over, we're going to ask for a warranty. Actually, this one, seller has a home warranty plan in place. So they don't have to do anything else. All this about how people are going to get sued if they don't do right. You've already accepted the disclosures. All these are different contingencies we can add to it. I accidentally put my wife's name in there when I autofilled an address earlier. So Cassie is a realtor, so she's a party to this transaction. She's actually a principal. She's a buyer, so I got to mark that so I don't get illegal. And seller's paying the commission, but again, Cassie's paying that transaction fee, so she's paying some too. All right, we are all buyer's agents and designated agents. We're designated. There it is. And then I know Liliana, because I checked Flex, is a seller's agent and a designated agent. But Liliana, notice this. I didn't have to type in the numbers or anything. Transaction desk already knows them. Look at her shaking her head if you can see her on there. This is such a time saver on this. Acceptance date. I always like to give at least 48 hours. We'll say by 11:50 p.m. And notice it's already got your names in there, your name, seller name. If there were other buyers and sellers, it show them. And that's all you do to fill this out. Now, save and exit. So then I got to get her to sign it. So I could just select the forms I need her to sign. And I'm going to do the inspection notice. And then my documents here too, I put it in my basket. It's rooms in DocuSign. No, it's envelopes in DocuSign. It's rooms in Dotloop. It's the shopping basket on Transaction Desk. They're all the same, yet copyrights made them do different things. So I'm going to have you sign these things. So I'm going to send it to you. And then it's going to let me doctor this thing up. So I like simul sign. So if 3 people have to sign, you don't have to wait on each other. It's whoever gets there first. Now, you're going to sign it, Cassie. I'm going to sign it as your buyer's agent. And Jim would have to sign on the broker line. I can do all this right from here. And if I know that I need to get it to Kelly Nystrom, I can put CC, and once it's all signed, she'll get a copy of it. So those you use transaction broker or a transaction coordinator, or is that some of what you'll be doing with Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, he could set this to where it would go to him, go to you automatically, just by loading you in. Okay, but we're not going to send that to her. Add my people, add my documents. So I can add more from. This is from my actual transaction. If I hadn't loaded the disclosures yet, I could upload those. I could put all that in here, and then I design it. And like I said, we're doing the fast version here, and then we're going to break into the parts. So the design is where I show where I want people to sign things. And Transaction Desk knows that you're the buyer, so it's already put your signature at the buyer spot for me. Look, I don't have to do it. It already knew where to put it. But let's say that I knew you needed to initial something. I changed it to you. And let's say I need you to initial this page. I can make this where you will have to initial by dragging that right there. Or I can have you fill out a text box for me. Or I can stick your name somewhere if I want. Or I can have you fill out a check box. I can do all these things from here before I send it to you. Or I can get really sneaky. There's a markup tool. I can take that and I could write something here, and I could even use this to white it out. So I can make things disappear from a contract. There's all kinds of tools on this. Okay, Zoom just brings it in closer. This shows me where I'm at, but it just basically sets up everything for the signatures. And then I would hit send. And last chance before I send it to you, I could put in a message. Send invitations or customize. So it would go, and that is me. Actually, all my stuff goes to Kelly, who signs as me anymore, so that's why my signature doesn't show up. But I could do offer on Winkler. And then I have a preset thing I can cut in here that says, hey, this is a signature form. Here it is, but please call if you have any questions. Then I hit send, and it's going to you for your signatures that fast, and then come back to me. Okay, so that's the fast use of Transaction Desk. So how on earth did I make it do all that so fast? Okay, well, over here, so here's the interesting thing on it. On the left of the screen is like your overall toolbox. On the right of the screen is your toolbox inside the transaction you're in. So right here, I'm at my main dashboard. I think you can move these things around. I just never have. The house button shows all my transactions, and this has everything I've done back to 2009 or whenever I started using this. This shows all my signings. Oh, there we go. The lights are on motion detectors. Okay, but the reason we got all this to work that well, we went down here into the template or the gear box, and we set it all up to start. Okay, so first off, there's preferences. User information. You can customize this. So if I went ahead and sent this to you, Cassie, it comes in with my Browntown Homes logo on the top. So user information, it shows all the basics about me. Office information, I don't think I can change these much. But down in here, I can. Email signature, I need to actually change that now because I've got something else with me. But you can put that in as an automatic signature. Branding, there's my logo, there's my picture, there's another image I had in there. All this you can add and customize when you send it to people. And I can update my password. But the branding especially, I would use that and it'll get your info into that. Okay, so that's under preferences. Program settings, linked applications. This is a lot of the junk, what's going on with it. Clauses is something I use a lot because when you're in a contract and there's like the thing called special agreements, it's like 3 lines where you can fill stuff in. If it's a multiple line box, you can just say add personal clause. And here are some of my clauses I use over and over. So like if I'm doing a repair request, I can just hit the button and it'll automatically put this in on my inspection notice. Buyer requests the following items found in the inspection be repaired, replaced, or a credit given at closing. All repairs are to be done by qualified professionals and receipts provided at least 3 days before closing. That way I don't have to remember this each time. Or the most important one, hey, Mark, is new construction timeline, because our contract's not made for new construction. If you write a contract today on a house that's not built and you don't add this in, your timelines for inspection start right now, and the house ain't done yet. So this is one I put in special agreements on any new construction. All parties acknowledge that this time frame set forth in paragraph 5, 6, and 7 of the contract, as well as the disposition of earnest money, if applicable, shall begin to run. And a lawyer did this somewhere and I stole it. So, but this way, my person doesn't have to worry about getting their inspections ordered until we get written notification that the house is done. And in all these years, I've still never had a buyer give me, or a builder give us written notification that a house is done. So do they watch the contract? Probably not. But all these clauses you can put in so you don't have to do them over and over. Septic alternative. I don't need that anymore now that there's that septic rider that we were talking about. But I used to have to put this in on everyone. This contract is contingent on the seller having the septic system inspected, certified, and pumped, and provided the certification to the buyer prior to the walkthrough. That is actually for Stone County, because in Stone County, the seller has to do a septic transfer certificate.
So these clauses, are they a separate piece of paper on the back, or is it being put in special?
Let's do one real quick. Let's jump back into that thing we were in. If this will jump. Winkler Street. Okay, so here's your contract we were just dealing with. Okay, so while I'm in a contract, here's my dashboard on the side. So this is for internally of a transaction. Still, here's my main thing over here. So there's the form we were dealing with, the contract. And those clauses will work on any multiple line thing. In other words, if I try to fill it in right here on the address, it won't do one. If I come, that is, it won't work. If I come down here to special agreements on page 8, and all I do is click clause, office systems. Let's see what office clauses they have. That's a stupid one. Never. All other terms and conditions remain the same. People used to put that on counteroffers all the time. It's in the pre-printed wording. So, but these are some different ones that are that Keller Williams has had in the past. Yeah, you're fine. The other ice is better though.
What is?
The other ice machine.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh,
And it's even got a scoop. So all I have to do on this is like click that, and okay, and bam, it fills it in.
So there are so many time savers on this. So if you're showing 10 houses on a Saturday and you got to get back and write a contract, bam, 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 you could be through the whole thing fast.
Okay, so that's how the clauses work. Back to our gear. But the big thing is transaction templates. This is where we set up all this way, way back so it works. So I have, these are some sample ones that have been around forever, but I made my own. So the one we just dealt with is called the buyer contract form. And on here, I put the last time I've updated it. That's just from my memory.
And since I just now formed into a team, as an official team in Flex, we now have to migrate all this over and start it all over. So we'll start again.
But I don't have any checklist in here. I could add one, but I already, CJR? That's Carol Jones Realtors.
I know.
Wow, wonder why that's in. Okay, contacts. Every time I start a contract, I want these people to automatically populate into it. So I've added Choice Title and Escrow. That's
My preferred title company, although I really don't care. Any of them are great. Choice is just usually faster. Typical closing is 25 minutes. And they get title work to you quickly, and they will let you know if there's an issue going on. So that's just my preference, but there's great companies all over. A lot of people like Meridian because they have beverages and candy. So
this automatically includes Keller Williams, and technically this is where it has Jim's signature because I know I need Jim on everything. Kelly Hunt and Lindsay, my transaction coordinator. I could add or remove anybody I need to, but it knows automatically who to add to it. Then documents and folders. These are the things I know I need to have: a broker disclosure form, affiliated referral of business, warranty form, and this is my own contract checklist. I don't know if it'll show it, but this is my checklist of everything I need to do a contract, the timelines once it happens, and you can tell this was set up when we had multiple people working together, so we know who did it and what date. But this goes in automatically, so it's just part of the package. And if anybody wants this, email me.
I will send any of my documents to you, change the name on the top, and steal it, and it's yours.
So that's already in here. And the thing that's different in Transaction Desk and
Other things, they look at documents and forms as two different things. Transaction debt or a DocuSign and Dotloop call them all documents. Here, it's implied that a form is something that has fillable spots on it. So my fillable spots that are automatically loaded, and there's more than I need because my philosophy is it's easy. Oops, I'm trying to add something. Just want to look. It's easier to delete than go find something I need. So it automatically has buyer's agency contract, the contract. I don't need the government loan rider on everybody, but I'd rather have it and just delete it or ignore it. Same on wastewater. I do have to have, well, this is not a compliance thing, but sometimes VA wants this form saying get a home inspection. Selection of pre-closing services. This is something I use that Keller Williams doesn't require, but I love it because I do this with the buyer. Okay, do you want a property inspection? Do you want an environmental inspection? They say, what's that? I say air samples, soil samples, and I've never had anybody do one. It's more of a commercial thing. Do you want to do radon? This lets me know what things I can order for them. And if something goes weird down the road and they say, well, you never told me I should get a property inspection. Look, you signed saying you didn't want one. Appraisal property, buyer's title insurance. They're almost always going to need that. These are just on, rural areas usually. Home warranty plan. So I have offered it to them here and on the warranty form and other. What if there's a swimming pool on the property? Do we want to check that? What if there's they specifically want a chimney guy? I can add anything onto this, and so that's a form that's available. And this symbol shows you a Springfield Board of Realtors form, not MAR.
And it's fillable online. too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, actually, this one, I don't know if this one does. I think I have to drop and drag initials onto this one.
Okay.
But another great thing on it, we'll jump over there. Remind me a second. There's cool things you can do. Like I can draw arrows with, so what I have people do on this one, I have them initial this line and then I make a giant arrow. So you don't have to initial over and over. But I can set what's called radio buttons. And the way I explain that, think on a car radio, how you have either 3 buttons or 6 or 20, you can only choose one. You can set this where they have to choose accept or decline. I do a lot of my consultations online. I don't know if it's just because I've gotten tired of sitting, walking through things with people, but it's possible to set all this where they can do it on their own. So that's another form I have in there. See if they'll let me jump back. I have counteroffer. I've got forms I need for down the road. Inspection notice response, final walkthrough. So everything I have is here. I'm ready ahead of time, and it will know the people's names. It'll know the dates. It'll fill all that in, so I'm not redoing it every time. So that's the big thing. So as you're setting up Transaction Desk, if you choose to use it, the big things you're going to do are under the gear. Come on, computer. You want to go in and check your branding, which is under your preferences. And then the big thing is these templates. Now, another cool thing I tell people on any of the, well, I take that back. Transaction Desk has okay customer support. Flex is awesome. So if you're anywhere in Flex, see if I can find my screen again. Okay, so there's a help thing here. It knows what screen you're on. So you hit video training and it'll pull up videos for the specific screen you're on. Or if you need to set stuff up, I always tell people, go to your phone and put their contact support in as Flex contact support. They're awesome. You can call them and say, hey, I'm trying to set up my search to do this or that or add this template. They will walk you through it. It's part of what we pay them for. But they're fantastic and they're very friendly and easy to deal with. So that's an aside. We'll go back to here. So let's go back to that transaction we were in.
Whatever he makes smells amazing. Can you smell it?
Yeah. Great. That's not nice. Yeah, he does, and Dan Holt. And so there's like all these prep meals in here. I think you're free to just take one if you want. Nobody's listening, hopefully. Okay, so we're going to do a whole different signing. We're going to use that form we were just talking about. So this shows the signing that I almost sent to you, but I didn't yet. Okay, we're going to add another one. So the add button, and some of it's just getting used to what the different buttons do. And if you hover, it'll show you. I can delete that if I need to. I can resend it. I can check all of it. So we're going to add, we're going to call it inspection choices. Go to a new signing. Yes. So it's going to be simul-signed again. That's automatically preset. We're going to send this to Cassie, and I'm going to have you actually do this here in a second. And it's got to say it's going to a remote signer. And now it wants my documents. So that is down here. Okay, so on this, notice the top is forms, fillable stuff that comes from there. Documents are my things that I added. Inspection providers. Let's see, where is that? Was an inspection notice. Where'd it go? I may have pulled it out because
205, go down, right there. Is that it?
you know it's something about inspection. Oh, selection of closing services. It's not called inspections because the lawyers are involved. Okay, so this is one of my favorite things because people can fill this out on their own. Once my computer cooperates. Maybe I didn't hit the add button right.
Disclosures was in there too, right? The disclosure form?
It depends. Well, there's all kinds of different disclosures. The house disclosures, if Liliana on this listing had put them in as,
Oh, that's right,
as public,
Yeah.
if it shows as public, it will automatically load them in.
Oh, okay.
If the agent has set them as private, you have to download them and put them in as a PDF.
Okay.
But I honestly set all of my documents as public on there. I'll do disclosures. I'll do the measurement disclaimer. We do a form on everyone called My Favorite Things. And it's basically, we go to our list, our seller and say, what do you love about your house? And they write our marketing remarks for us. But we make a giant banner that says, my favorite things about my house are, and list it. Because sometimes something they'll say doesn't, you know, is something I wouldn't think of. Okay, so now we're going to design this page for you. Okay, so there it is. The drag and drop and the markup are the two things we need. So I need you to initial at the top of this.
So I'm putting you right there. But for some reason, this already knows to make you the buyer down there and it put the date in already. Okay, so I need you to choose which of these you're going to do. So there's these things called radio buttons. Think like a car radio. Oops, I should have drug them. I'm just going to delete that and start over because I didn't drag it right. Radio buttons. Going to drag them to here. And you get to choose one of those. And same thing here. And I can go down through this whole thing. But a lot of times I know, that they're, well, let me get to the right spot. I know they've got to get they're doing a loan, so we got to buy title insurance. So you're going to X that. It doesn't give you the option. Same thing here. Or I could even fill it out. I could go to markup. I could grab a text box. Watch this. X. Ooh. I know you don't want a home warranty because they're already providing one. So this won't show up, but just the X will. Or I could even put that note. I can put a text box here. Provided by seller. And I can change my font. I can change the size, different things like that on it. But, oh, and right here, if I right click on this, I can add a date stamp. I can add a timestamp. I can add a name block. There's all kinds of different things there. But I don't want you to have to initial this over and over. So here's something cool I do. I grab my line tool. If I grab it right. And I make a line. And I grab my line tool again. I make another line. And I make an arrow. So you don't have to assign every one of those. So
is that initial already in there or it's prompting them to initial?
So when this goes to you in a second, you have to initial right there. So I'm telling it, yeah, I'm telling it where I want you to, but it knew already that this is the buyer line down here. I don't know why it knows there, but not up here, but that's just kind of what it is on this. Okay, so I'm actually going to add myself. Now we're just going to go ahead and do this. So it's going to come up on your email in a second. And you'll see my big logo is the main thing that comes up on it. So everybody looking online at the screen, up here it says inspection choices and has that little lightning bolt. That means it's been sent. Let's check some details on it. This just shows me everything about it. So if I have to resend, or if I got the email address in wrong, or they needed to not go to their work email, I can change that. And I logged out a little too far. So Liliana, you are not getting a backup offer on your house, just so you know.
Darn it.
Yeah, for 200,000.
Okay, I'm gonna start signing.
Okay, so you have to accept something on there. Okay, so I'm under her transaction again. On the right, I have signings. If I think this will show me. Oh, so now that she's opened it, this will look different. Look, she's authenticated it, which meant you've opened it. But until you accept the signings at the end, it will not say it's signed. And over here is kind of cool. Original document. If you have 5 people signing, it will show you each step. So it'll show you the first person's signatures, the second. So if 3 people signed online and then the other person's coming into the office, you could actually go to the latest one, print it off, and have it ready for them. It shows you the whole timeline trail of who did what. And again, while Cassie's finishing that up, I strongly recommend DocuSign more because it's going to coordinate so much better with Command. But if you have trouble with that, this is an option that's provided free through the board. Loop, I think you got to pay 15, 20 bucks a month or something. Transaction desk is here and it's linked. So like we set up on this, all you gotta do is click that one button in the listing and it loads it all in for you. Have you made your choices?
It's there.
Okay, so, oh, look at this. It showed me. There's a ribbon. So now under inspection choices, it will show me the original document, revision 1, which is where you probably signed it, and then my final document. So if there were multiple people signing, it'd show revision 1, revision 2, revision 3, and it will let me print either the whole thing or separate. So if I had like 10 documents I sent to you, it will itemize them out also. But there it is. There's her initial. She chose to do a property inspection. She's not doing environmental. And her signature. So the only problem with transaction desk, now you have to take this PDF and load it into command. And I recommend getting all of your transaction things into command under what's called opportunities. On our team, every Tuesday morning, we have a meeting and we just start in command and say, okay, what listings, who's a prospect, who's active, who's under contract, but it will organize and make sense of everything. So the more you can jump straight in on command and just start putting people in and using the system, it makes your life easier down the long road. Okay, so that's the basic stuff of using transaction desk, either for quick signings or getting a quick document. I wish it would go into command, or I wish DocuSign went all the way from MLS, but this is sort of another option there. So online, are there any questions? I don't see any there. Let's see what this is. So on the left, this looks like our opportunities logo, so I was curious what it is. It's people they're doing business with, so we don't care about that. Here's all of my contacts that are in transaction desk. There's a calendar, there's all kinds of things here, which are overkill because a lot of our stuff can be done through command or through Google Calendar. But the big thing is how fast you can put an offer together and have your templates there so you don't have to recreate people over and over and over. All right, that's actually, I'm done 10 minutes ahead of time. So as you can see through here, I have several different of these going. The one problem, I have to go from here and download it into command, but it's either that or starting by downloading into DocuSign. So it's just a choice on that. I wonder what that is. Okay, no questions live, no questions online, but something will come up. So as you start messing with this, give me a call or email and we can go through there. But it's a neat alternative if you need something different. And one more time, I'm going to go back to where we found those things at the beginning. Way down here, MR forms and simplicity. And there's a lot of other cool stuff here too. But just keep an eye on that, or even over here, GSBR calendar of events. All this stuff is stuff we're paying for, so you might as well look into it and use some of it. Awesome. All right, I'm going to stop the recording and stop the Zoom. Liliana and Evan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, we will see ya. How do I stop recording?